Not tonight. So we can all be quiet and peaceable and listen to the music.
What up? What up? Or can you hear me? I can't hear myself.
Yeah,
I can't
we're
hear myself
loud.
at all. I can't hear me at all.
Hey, Ezra, you want to take care of that? We're on live on the TV on the thing.
Yeah. Well, hey,
Broadcast.
as long as you can hear me, I can't hear myself. I can hear myself. You know, I can hear myself because I'm a human, and I like
you're
it's
talking, 'cause
It's
you're
actually
moving
in
your
my
mouth.
brain, but I can't hear myself in my earphones. Can you?
I can hear you. Yeah.
So those are working right there.
This one actually is not working. We're having. I mean, we'll work it through the. I already know.
Can you hear us? That's the question. Can
Holler
you
if
hear
you
us?
hear us.
Holler if you hear me. In the words of Tupac. All right,
All right. Well, hey, I'm Tommy Elwell. This is
Dave Villa.
yeah. He's the guy that hosts the show. Good to see you back here on a Thursday afternoon at 3:30.
Yep.
Thanks so much for tuning in. We know you could be anywhere. You
Anywhere.
decided to be with us.
And we're privileged and
We're privileged and appreciative.
appreciative.
Thank you.
I can't hear myself still, so
This is gonna.
just
his
letting you
OC
guys know
Dave's
because
OCD is
as
gonna
long as
take
it's,
over
again, I can hear
full-fledged.
us because
Yeah.
we're in the same room, and but I just want to be able to hear the guests when they come on. So hey, man, it's going to be a great show today.
Oh, it's gonna be a good
Money in the box.
money in the
Money
box.
in the box.
And the box refers to the finance department, right? We're talking about.
Yeah, man, the F&I
So all
box.
things related to the F&I department, which probably no one has a really solid opinion on. So I'm sure most of you that are going to come on today are going to be a little wishy-washy in how they feel. There are going to be some people that are going to be riding the fence. No,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
being
good.
sarcastic. Obviously, I have people with extremely strong opinions about this particular subject and about some of the things related to it. So it's going to be a good one. And Dave's OCD is going to go. Yeah, exactly.
Eh?
Yep. I cut my hair.
I want to stick one of the the old school with that old days old hearing aids back in the black and white era or whatever that was. They'd stick one of those big like
like a
cones,
megaphone. Yeah, cone.
That was the hearing, and I can't speak up. And
Me and Dave said, "Wait, listen, you gonna wear some plaid tomorrow?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Okay, me too." I said, "You about green? Green, you're on." So we both did that. By the way, too. So we got a good show today. Oh, please, here, do us a favor.
Mm-hmm.
One, if you want to call in, we get call-ins occasionally. I know some of you guys are busy and you can watch, but you can't necessarily participate. But if you want to call, 813-574-1820. 813-574-1820. That is our live hotline number. Give us a holler and let us know how you feel about things. If we can fit you on, or if the time permits, we'd love to talk to you about your opinion on things. And also, if you would also please, I'm saying please and thank you here, hashtag, oh, there's so much crap going on.
yeah, baby.
Hashtag
See, all
Auto
you
Deal
see right
Live.
now, is us in this cool stuff. Here, there you go. I got ears.
Oh, thank God.
I got ears.
This is getting kind of difficult.
You know what? I got ears now, man. How? You know what? It's like the blind man saying, "I saw the light. I could see." It's like I can hear. Yeah, man.
Oh,
So
I can hear. I'm almost deaf.
See,
My ears-
you
my
see
ears
this.
start bleeding in here in a second.
You see the beautiful, logo behind us, and all the cool stuff on the desk and our nice plaid shirts. But you couldn't see all the chaos that's going on in front of us, of people running around. You try that on for size.
I don't even know how people do that in a that takes a level of concentration I do not have. Like when those reporters doing the live shots, and somebody's behind them and they're doing like this, and they're running up behind them and they're like,
Yeah.
"Hey, how you doing?" And they're next to them and they see him out of their peripheral. I'm not
Couldn't
that
do that?
talented. Nope, not that talented. I'm barely talented enough to even have a conversation like we're having now. So forget about distracting me from that conversation. It's
Right.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen. So you can hear us now, huh? You're good.
I'm good, man. I mean, it's a little different than normal. You know what I mean? It's a little bit. But hey, you know what? Before I couldn't hear. Now I can hear. So
Praise Jesus.
man, hey, we're gonna have a good show today. I'm excited. It just momentarily, you don't up on Auto Dealer. Guests coming on. It's always a spirited discussion, man, when we talk F&I, because it's a very here's the deal, Tommy. In this process of selling an automobile, it's for years, for decades,
Right.
you have a separate department, man, that has its own profit source, that has its own, components and menus and so forth. And the F&I department has always been a specialized category. So we're going to have a discussion today on how to increase your back end. So I know that's going to open up, I think, some great dialogue between these experts, because they're all opinionated. They all have expertise in this area, and they're trainers and they're consultants, and they're going to come on and they're going to talk. And it's not going to be just about, hey, eliminate the box or not, what have you, but it's how to make more money. I think everybody in the auto business is, how can I increase my profits? How can I increase the back end money? Because here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, in an auto industry in the modern era, that has a shrinking margin. When you have the internet, and you have transparency, and you have new cars where somebody can rely on the internet to tell them what they should pay, and it's very difficult for dealers to make the margins on the front end like they used to. Even with used cars, it's getting harder. The back end has always been a safe place, and so we want to talk about how to make more money, increase our profits on the back end. So I'm excited to hear what these guests have to say about this, because they're the experts, man.
Have you considered knocking their heads off? Have you considered that? That's how we make more money. Implement it today. Let's get out on the blacktop and let's make it happen. I've never been. You can tell I've never worked how to do it.
No, you've been doing this now for almost a decade, though. You know what I mean?
Holy crap, that's a long time. Yeah,
long time.
But I've never actually sold a car.
No, but you've helped dealers sell thousands.
Oh yeah,
thousands,
well, literally
thousands,
people,
not just
no,
hundreds,
literally thousands.
Thousands.
Yeah, and I'm proud of it.
You've made dealers in this nation millions of dollars. You alone.
Wow, man, that's good perspective, man. You make me feel good about myself. Thank you.
I try.
Thank you for that.
I try.
Thank you for the opportunity to do that, because if I've done that, geez, you got to be up in the hundreds of millions. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Wow.
All right, so we're going to go to commercial right now, but you don't go anywhere. You grab your popcorn, you get your freaking soda and your Slurpee. It's Slurpee.
Coke and cherry, half and half. Get that.
We'll be back in 2 and 2. The next up is the Money in the Box panel.
With rising competition and shrinking profit margins, you need every resource available to help you succeed. TrueCar has the ability to be the most powerful tool in your arsenal.
Go with the pros who know. Your dealership wouldn't trust its vehicles in the hands of an uncertified technician. So why trust its finances with accounting firms that don't know your business? Rosenfield & Company knows the automotive industry and has been serving dealerships like yours for over 20 years. We take pride in helping our clients grow from single-point stores to some of the largest dealer groups in the country. We are more than just your accountants. Our team can guide you through mergers and acquisitions, operational reviews, succession planning, and more. Visit us on the web for more information at www.rosenfieldandco.com.
Jason Rice from Lot Pop, and let me tell you what we do to help dealerships increase used car sales 20 to 30% in gross in volume. 3 areas we focus on: trend reports. We look at weekly trends that no one else is trending to make adjustments on our inventory. 2 is we do weekly review calls to review those trends, but also we dig through every car that needs to be price adjusted to increase the searches. And 3, we do a virtual lot walk, make sure every car is standing tall in line, and make sure we don't have bad photos like these. Check out our website, lotpop.com. our blog at automotiverevolution.com, and our weekly video tips at increaseturn.com. Thanks.
Hello, I'm Alan Ram, president and founder of Alan Ram's Proactive Training Solutions. Let's face it, good managers are defined not by what they do when they have a showroom full of customers, but more by what they do when there are no customers in the showroom. In 2015, whether you like it or not, the car business is all about conversion of opportunities and driving traffic. All those great closers and desk people are not doing you a whole lot of good if your dealership is not converting effectively on the telephone and internet. As an owner or dealer, when you see 5 salespeople standing by the front door doing nothing, don't kid yourself. Your dealership is not being effectively managed. Management by Fire is a 2.5-day intensive course conducted entirely by me that teaches managers how to effectively manage in today's automotive industry. Simple processes for driving high-quality traffic. For more information on upcoming events, please call my team at 866-996-4665. Once again, 866-996-4665. Thank you.
Service Group has over 40 years of experience empowering dealerships to grow profits, develop personnel, and provide their customers with a high level of service. We offer high-quality products, world-class servicing, and innovative training and technology. Meet our team, first-class trainers, the best account managers, and an executive team that's second to none.
This is your Service Group team. We look forward to giving your people the power to perform.
I'm excited about the future of TrueCar, and I hope you are too. As we evolve our product and service, we'll keep listening to dealers and making even more enhancements based on your ongoing feedback.
All right, we're back. We're back. Thanks for hanging with us today on Auto Dealer Live. Turn my ears up a little bit. We're going to jump right into the next up, the panel, the Money in the Box panel. And we've got a superstar group here, and you're going to want to hang out for this show. Again, we're going to open our phone lines up. Tommy, 813-574-1820. If you have any questions throughout the show, give us a call and let your voice be heard. So without further ado, we have the founder and CEO at Dealer F&I University, Mr. Shaka Dyson. We have the president at AlphaDogBlog.com and national automotive speaker, Jim Ziegler. We have the president of Chernick Consulting, Rebecca Chernick. We have the director of the Academy at Service Group, Tony D. And we have the principal consultant at Crane Automotive Resources, Candace Crane, on the show today. Guys, thanks for hanging out with us and discussing this topic of how to make more money, how to bank in the back end. How about that? You like that? How to bank in the back end. And you know, it's in the era, Jim, I'll start with you, Mr. Ziegler. In the era where the margins in the auto business, I mean, just through transparency, I mean, let's just face it, you know, it's a lot harder for dealers in general. Maybe not some, but most. It's a lot harder for them to make some of the front end money, make some of the gross that they were accustomed to making. And so to stay in, if you're an owner in the business, and what is the primary way, in your opinion, to make more money on the back end? How can a dealer increase their profits in the finance department?
Well, first of all, they've got to get the people in the box sooner. And, you know, there's a lot of people like to say the box is going away. The box is not going away, but they got to get people in there quicker. They've got to turn the deal sooner. And, you know, most of the problems in F&I profits today generate from the sales department. You know, and by the time the customer gets in the F&I department, they're angry. It's very difficult to sell anything to an angry person. Mm-hmm. And they've been waiting a long time. They've been bounced around. And I always say that you have 4 or 5 people in the sales department bounce a customer around for 4 hours and not make a deal, but F&I manager has to close every one of them. So education is a big part of it. You know, the words we say to the customers, it's all about feelings. It's all about The time is the biggest thing the customers are, and you know, with the paperwork today, if we didn't sell anything, it would take 25 minutes to deliver a car. Just with the paperwork the state requires, the paperwork the banks require. Even if it's an electronic delivery, you still got to go through the disclosures. And time is the customer's biggest complaint today. Not so much we're trying to sell them something, but the time.
You know, Shaka, I love the name Dealer F&I University. I mean, when you hear university, you hear not just training, you hear education. And so let me ask you this. I mean, obviously one of the ways in which, you know, money is made in the F&I department are through are through different products that are available. And let me ask you this, man. I mean, with regards to training, I mean, a lot of times in my experience in the business for the last couple of decades, it's almost like the F&I department is like a stepchild. It's kind of like an afterthought to a lot of the dealership. And is there a lack of training? Is there a lack of of understanding, possibly, on how money can be made? And in the dealership, how money can be made. So maybe there's just one person, the F&I manager, and that person's called like a lone ranger. Is that an issue at all in some of the dealerships you've been experienced to with your consulting?
Oh, of course. And, the problem is that what I found is a lot of dealers don't know, a lot of dealers and GMs and executive management don't know a whole lot about F&I. Not all of them have gone through the F&I department. Not all of them have had the training, the education that they have in F&I. So therein would lie the problem. That's why they don't really know what all goes into a PBR. They don't really know what all goes into the daily task of an F&I manager. All they really know is what it looks like on a profit and loss sheet. All they really know is, hey, they approach the F&I department exactly like they approach every other department, and the F&I department is a lot different than other departments, in many, many ways. So yeah, I see a lack of training, a lack of understanding, and the approach to F&I by a lot of people outside the F&I department is a lot different.
Let me ask that same question to you, Rebecca. I mean, I know Well, let me go back to the first question. I mean, if you're training dealerships on F&I, you see the need for this. Obviously, you're passionate about it. I mean, do you see the margins or the ever shrinking margins? Do you see this affecting the F&I department more than ever today? Do you see what do you see right now as the number one thing that dealers need to pay attention to? Because, hey, some say, hey, and we talked about this. You guys have been on the show before, many of you, where we talked about, do we eliminate it? Jim just said, get them there faster. I mean, what's the driving force of this change, and what really does need to change? I think the dealers are asking this question, and they hear a lot of voices, so where to go, I think, is the question that a lot of dealers ask us. Like, what is the right answer? Do you have an opinion on this, Rebecca?
Well, I certainly do, and thank you very much again for having me on your show. And, years back, Jim and I worked together hand in hand, and one of the things that I will say that really created a huge impact is when you get sales management, desking, and F&I linking together and working side by side. And when you create that seamless process, I will tell you, will help to immediately make a major impact your overall performance. When you don't have the front end talking to the back end, when you have that F&I bottleneck that Jim was referring to, you're going to see a drop in income. It is critical today, more than ever before, that we link those two departments together. And it's not necessarily that you have to abolish an F&I department to make that happen. You have to create that seamless process, and everyone has to work side by side together. And two heads are always better than one. That's how you maximize it. And engaging sooner with a customer via online. When I would go out there to the showroom floor, it was getting out there and making sure that I was engaged sooner in the process rather than later in the process, being on the desk and helping to manage those deals and working together to integrate both those departments. That's when you're going to see and maximize those.
Candace, let me ask you this. Somebody just tweeted, and this is kind of the perception, and I want you to comment on why you disagree with what's wrong with what you've heard so far, because I think that everybody has said, hey, we need to adapt. Even Jim started the show out with, hey, we need to get there faster. So somebody tweeted out, a dealer actually said, I know where Jim and Shaka stand on this. I'm anxious to hear where the others stand on this, quote, silly conversation. So it's the silly conversation, meaning that, from what they're saying, silly, why are we even talking about the fact of eliminating or that is it important or not? So let me ask you this. With what you've heard so far, what do you disagree with? Why is this not good enough? Why is just a little change not good enough? Candace.
Because no particular department within the retail automotive space is immune to the changes that are happening in the industry right now. The reality is the customer no longer wants to do business this way. And there are other companies that are providing the customer a different way to do business. I mean, this is not just on the radar of the startups. This is on the radar of the OEM. This is a situation that is real, and I mean, it's. I would hope that as industry thought leaders, we can keep open-minded to the reality that our industry is going to change, and the F&I manager role, as it's designed today, does not make sense for a faster, more customer-centric, transparent process. It doesn't. If we want to talk about streamlining, then let's do that. Put it in the hands of the sales reps to sell the menu. Make it a digital menu. Allow it to be sold over different channels. That is the way the industry is going. That is the only way to solve the problem. Sure, you can shave off a couple of minutes here and there if you somehow create an environment where sales and finance work together, but show me a show floor that happens consistently year over year over year. It doesn't. That's why we're talking about the same problem. We are at a place now where there are competitors and other threats that are forcing the industry to change. So we as thought leaders can either embrace that and support it and train the industry to sell in a different way, or we get left behind. It's as simple as that.
Can I plead? I'm going to plead some ignorance to kind of play devil's advocate here for 2 seconds, because I'm thinking everything. I know we talk about things being customer centric, and obviously, the customer is the priority. I get that, but unless they're going to start buying cars in a different way. Like, in other words, like dentists don't have to say, oh, we need to be more customer centric. You want your tooth pulled because it hurts? We're going to pull it the way we need to do it because this is the way it's done. And you don't have to do it every week, but you're going to do it every couple years or whatever that looks like. So the fact that this is something that people don't do every day, the fact that sometimes maybe it does take a day, but maybe you don't buy a car once every 2 or 3 or 5 years. Is it something that is so necessary, as Candace and whoever wants to address this can, as Candace is saying, are these changes so necessary that we need to jump to changing how we've done things for forever to accommodate people who are doing something once every 5 years? And that's not saying sacrifice customer service or sacrifice how people should be treated, because you can, if somebody has to spend the whole day at the dealership and they're actually treated well, and hey, guess what? The deals take a little longer to do than we thought. We're going to buy you dinner and let the kids play in the playroom. Guess what? That still becomes a good experience, even though it may take all day. You know what I'm saying? So customer service isn't sacrificed. But are we having to change how we do things? Is that really that urgent in other people's opinions besides Candace?
No. We don't have to change it all. It's Tony D here. Good to see you, Dave, Tommy, Rebecca, Candace, Shaka, and my buddy, the dog, Mr. Ziegler. We got 3 balls, a blonde and a brunette, all walking to Auto Dealer Live to talk about F&I. And when you start talking about more money, and Jim brought up a great piece about speed, one of the pieces of information or some software that we have here at the Academy, I get to look at about 1,200 business managers on a daily basis. One of the things I notice, as soon as they start going beyond about 70 deals in a month, their profitability drops. The sweet spot's between 50 and 70. And there's a lot of business managers out there that are doing a lot more deals. When they're doing more deals, it takes longer, and it makes for a poor customer experience going on. And then you start bringing up, well, do we have to go to a completely different way of doing business to accommodate based off of what the customer's needs are? Yes, no, maybe, sort of, kind of, maybe. I am a strong advocate of a hybrid process where we do have salespeople that also offer the F&I products once they've been properly trained, and been training that for 5 going on 6 years now. But in my opinion, it doesn't eliminate the business office or an F&I director because we always have those other situations. But more importantly, is it's not for every dealer and it's not for every market. And places to install hybrid, and there's some other places hybrid's not necessary. One of the first things I ask any dealer who's looking at doing hybrid is, why do you want to do it? If they're already running F&I numbers, really there's no reason to do it. If they're underperforming, to look out why they want to do it.
But Tony, how can you say there's no reason to do it if they're running F&I numbers? What about the customer experience? What about reducing the cost of sale? What about being able
to superfluous pile of crap.
$150,000 employee? There are lots of reasons to do it. You can't just be short-sighted and look at revenue.
Well, again, that's why I said it's the first question I ask. Why do you want to do it? Is it all about customer experience? Especially for dealers, and I know Candace, and I certainly know the models on reducing the expense of the business manager. Agree, disagree with that. There's a lot of different models it can be going into, but in my experience is the product sales increase to such a higher level, the long-term investment opportunities with reinsurance or risk transfer for the dealer is overwhelming and far outweighs the amount of money they'd be paying a business manager. So again, there's a good cost savings there or an increase in profitability. But speed in the dealership can be handled a lot of different ways, even in the traditional business office, primarily from the sales department, having sales managers load all the information and all the deal information. Having things
Tony,
like a driver's license.
That's not true, Tony. That's not your limit. That's not true, because if you think about a retailer like a Target, you go into a Target on a Saturday, they have every single checkout lane open because of the volume of people that they have coming through. On a Tuesday, they have a fraction of that open. When you're pushing that much volume through a very small funnel, it's not possible to expedite significantly the transaction. It's just not. Sure, you can front load the information, you can shave off some time, absolutely. But are you going to shave off enough to really, truly impact that interaction and be able to use that as a differentiator in your competitive brand? No.
Shaka.
No, you can't.
Shaka, let me throw this
What
out.
a superfluous pile of crap.
Please,
absolutely. I am listening to this bull crap. And just, we're going to have the salesman doing F&I. We're going to be like Target. I think the most expensive item you can buy at Target's $1,000, and they haven't got any paperwork that goes with it. The cashiers do. Hey, can I talk a second? You've been blowing all this hot air, woman. Let me talk a second, okay? Just shut the hell up.
I'm respectful.
Yeah.
More respectful.
Go ahead. Well, hold
please,
on.
Sir, go on. Please.
Go ahead, Jim.
I've been listening to this. How much paperwork do the cashiers at Target do? How much legal training do they have to have? Target doesn't sell anything more than $1,000, $2,000 maybe, and there's no legalities. There's no thing they have to watch out for. You're going to have salesmen doing it. Salesmen can't even do the paperwork now, and you're trying to reduce the. You just I don't.
Okay, so we're going to trust the salesman. We're going to trust the salesman to build a relationship with a customer that we want to retain for life. We're going to trust the salesman with a customer who is going to bring us business in our sales drive and in our service drive. But you mean to tell me that particular individual is not competent or capable enough of selling a menu presentation, but they can sell the product?
Shaka, I'm going to get you and Becky weigh in on this too. So Shaka, I mean, I know your opinion on this, but let me kind of throw this in as well, because Candace said something a minute ago that just taking the Target line. I'm in the marketing side of this business, but I can tell you, with the few hundred dealers that we work with, we get calls, for instance, halfway through the month. And so I just thought of this for the first time when she was talking about when they're not busy, maybe half staff when they're busy. A car dealership's typically busy at one time, meaning that they market and bring in people in droves, so to speak, because they're having a slow month, and all of a sudden they get a shot in the arm through some sort of marketing campaign to try to bring somebody in for a campaign over the weekend, because the cars are different in the way they're purchased. I mean, there's not like a steady flow of people just coming in every single solitary day. It's a forced market, at least from my perspective, because it's like Tommy said a minute ago. I mean, it is expensive, and it is an emotional decision. And so it's kind of like you're taking in the car business tomorrow's market or someone who's in the warm market, and you're making them hotter today. And so next month when you're slow again, you almost have to kind of pull that following month's business in again. You see what I'm saying, Shaka? So I mean, we have concentrated time frames where we are busy. Wouldn't that affect this concept of what Candace is talking about as well? Shaka, you on? I think we might have lost Shaka.
Yeah, no, I'm here.
Go ahead, Shaka.
No, I'm here, and I listen to it. I mean, and I think everybody knows my view on it. I mean, I would just say this, man. Concentrated market, not concentrated market. Reality is one thing, and theory is another. And what I would like to see is I don't want to get on panels anymore and discuss this theory. If her and others that feel the same way that she does and have the program the way that she does, if they can go in and convince dealers and things of that nature to change up the way that they do it currently, then like I said, God bless her, man. But all I ever see is it being discussed amongst the people who train and the so-called experts and gurus of F&I. But I've never seen a dealer jump on and say, hey, I think this is a good idea. I've never had one dealer call me, not one dealer talk to me. I've had not one dealer in the F&I 20 group, which consists of 6,200 and something people across the nation, including dealers and GMs in all across the country. I've never had one jump on and say, hey, you know what, I think that's a good idea. As a matter of fact, I've had them say quite the opposite. And what they preface their comment with is, hey, I'm an owner, so I can weigh in, or hey, I'm a GM, so I can weigh in, and there's no way in God's green earth that we're going to do this process. Are you crazy? F&I is the most profitable square footage in the dealership. What are you talking about? So it's a conversation that's a lewd point to me. Mm-hmm. I think that some people feel important to conversate about it, but it's a lewd point to me.
Okay.
And this is exactly what's frustrating to me about your position, Shaka.
One at a time, sir. I can get heard.
Just let Shaka finish real quick, and then
Thank you for not interrupting me. I appreciate you. So the second point is that they talk about the expense of an F&I person. Now, again, I just came into this trainer world. I just came into this so-called expert guru world. I'm from the trenches. I'm from the dealer world. That's where I just spent all my time. And I had 65 F&I managers that reported to me across 5 states, 34 dealerships. And I'm going to tell you something. I never had one F&I manager that didn't get paid off the revenue that they generated. And they didn't get paid 100%, 50%, 40%. They got paid X amount of percentage based on the revenue that they generated. So I don't understand where this extra expense is that people are talking about that comes into F&I. Listen, a good F&I department is going to net 79 to 80-something percent of all the money that they generate. So therefore, 79 pennies to 80-something pennies of every dollar they generate goes to the bottom line. So I don't understand where the finance manager expense comes in as well. So therefore, like I said, it's a great theory, and people, it sounds good when they talk about it and they feel proud of themselves, but it's not a reality. According to myself and people like Jim who know and other dealer principals and general managers around the country.
Okay.
Okay, so July 12th, Shaka, I would invite you to come to Minneapolis. I'm meeting 2 dealers there. I'm meeting a finance company there. There will be a representative who's currently working on the rollout from the Lexus one person, one price model. I'll meet you there. I'll show it to you. Because, again, this is not a theory. This is a practice that is successful in multiple stores across this country. This is a model that is picking up traction by the OEMs. This is a model that's picking up traction by the public. So it is not just a theory. As a thought leader, I would hope that you have a responsibility to at least investigate this. You don't have to believe in it. I understand. You have a position and an opinion. You have a right to have that. But this is something that is happening successfully throughout our industry. If you haven't seen it, come July 12th. I'll be in Minneapolis. I'm happy to bring you on the tour. You can see how it's working in the 12 store group.
Rebecca, Diana Edson said we'll kind of change gears a little bit, I want to talk about again how to make money in the back end. So we can keep talking about this. You guys are the experts. I want to give you all the time. But Diana Edson just said she went all political. She said looks like somebody's trying to implement another Obamacare concept to the F&I department. I don't know what she meant, but Rebecca, jump in. You haven't got a chance to say a lot, and but you know what? I think this is good dialogue, no matter what, guys. I really, really do. I mean, obviously, we're all in this business. We love this business, and I think that it's great to hear what you guys that are in the trenches are saying. So, Rebecca, I'm gonna let you weigh in on what you've heard so far, and maybe bring your comment to the table.
Okay, well, it's interesting. I remember when menu selling first came out years back, and I can tell you how everybody said, this isn't going to work, that's not going to work, you can't do this and you can't do that. And then we proved, hey, you can do this and you can do that. And we rolled it out, but we rolled it out in masses across the country, and we made a huge impact. Now, I'm not saying that certain stores are not going to go ahead in such as Highline stores and be able to roll this out and be successful with it. But it takes a tremendous amount of management and accountability, obviously, to put this together. And unfortunately, in other stores, we don't have that as much as perhaps maybe some of these other Highline smaller stores may have. Now, granted, in the stores in Walser Automotive Group, again, it takes management, power, training, and lots of it. We keep talking about this. We do not have this training element in these dealerships as much as we should. And we have a high amount of turnover in these dealerships. It's 77 some odd %, and with sales consultants turning over in these dealerships. I can't even imagine having to bring these salespeople back in to train them all over. Dealers won't do it. They're not going to take the time.
But Rebecca, we also need to reduce it. I mean, we can't solve a problem without solving. I mean, the main problem here, to your point, is reducing sales turnover. We can reduce sales turnover by providing a career path, by making the opportunity more complex, by switching to hourly compensation programs. I mean, there's different things that we can do to improve turnover. I agree with you, but obviously the goal here isn't to keep F&I because we know that we have a turnover problem.
And I feel like you had asked my feedback. I'm trying to provide my feedback, and I'm also trying to be polite to you. I expect the same in return. And so there is a compliance feature. There is a compliance issue, and we want to make sure that, again, if we have all this turnover, we're going to have to manage this better, and we need a lot more accountability. And frankly, I just don't see it. And perhaps maybe down the road, I don't know, but for right now, I don't see it happening.
Hey,
let's talk about making more money in the business office.
And I got to tell you,
hey, I think that's what the show's about. Thank you.
Yeah, I didn't come here. I didn't come here to debate this woman.
Okay, yeah, actually, Jim, we're going to give you some time. I saw you had a
Jim, this
request.
woman has a name. Her name is Candace. You can refer to me by name. We can be respectful.
Yeah, okay.
I'm gonna find
I'm not very
we all can get
respectful.
behind.
Sorry.
Everybody, millennials.
So Jim,
go.
So Jim,
it looked like.
Go ahead, Jim.
How do you like my Hawaiian shirt? How do you like my Hawaiian shirt, David?
I love it.
I got the Teach at the Beach seminar coming up, so I'm wearing my beach gear.
Wearing your beach gear.
Yeah.
the beach.
So let's talk about making money in the back end, because I went
That's
to
what I thought we were here for.
Yeah, I went to a dealership, bought a car last year, and the F&I manager was weaker than wet bread. He didn't really say hardly anything and do anything. And Jim, I mean, is that, I got to ask you though, man, is that, I remember going into some dealerships, man, where, we had some guys that just knew what they were doing. They were good at their job. They were passionate about it. What's missing today, man? How can, what are the stores that are making some serious back-end gross? What are they doing?
Well, first of all, most of the people making the big money in F&I are the public companies.
Mm-hmm.
The public companies are averaging about $1,500 a car. Most of them, the AutoNations, the group ones, the big ones, and training and implementation are two parts of that. And F&I's got to have more skills, more schools, more specialized training than anybody in the dealership. It's not a job I'm going to teach a salesman to do, especially the turnover. By the time I got one trained, here comes another one. You know, it's just not going to happen. And the legal responsibilities in the F&I office are monumental. I mean, you know, you got to be the policeman of the dealership, and salespeople continually trying to get things past the F&I department. I mean, we have to be the one that says stop. We're the policeman. We got to blow the whistle. But to make more profit, we got to be better trained. We have to have, once again, time. Time is all important. I don't think we're ever going to deliver cars in 45 minutes and be profitable. You can deliver a car in 45 minutes, but not be profitable consistently and not be legal and not have good CSI. Not going to happen. You know, all these people got these buzzwords, more buzzwords for square inch, you know, customer experience, and I hear all that shit. But the truth of the matter is, it's all about profitability. It's all about legal compliance. It's all about training. And the words you say to the customer, it's all about feelings. I have never had a customer angry in the F&I office. Never. I've been doing it 30 years, and I've done it as recently as last week. I mean, so, you know, and I'm listening to people that are trying to make a profit by taking F&I out of the F&I office so they can train it. And that's exactly what we're experiencing here. It's a business model. And the dealers are going to be liable. Tony, you got something to say?
Yeah, well, you know, you say the dealers, it also falls into identifying where they're not being profitable. When we look at dealerships as a whole and business managers, start looking like it just cash deals. Most business managers, if it's a cash deal or an outside finance deal, the deal comes in, most, not all, but a lot of business managers, it's a cash deal. And they don't even try. When I'm looking, I got 1,200 business managers I'm looking at on this screen. If I could share screen, I would do it. And you look at just cash deals on 1,200 people, they're averaging $183 a copy. That's not even trying. If I look at just outside finance, it's better at $141. They just, too many business managers just don't put the same effort into it. Now, granted, there's some things from the desk, from the sales department that maybe we could work on, but one thing dealers, sales managers, and every F&I person on ADL today, stick to your program. Always go back to center. Whatever your process, you're on a menu, you're one price, you step sell. We're not going to get into any of those debates today, or not right now. Stick to whatever your profitable process is every single time. If they're paying cash for the vehicle, let's make sure that they have a service contract, scheduled maintenance, their wheels and tires are covered, their windshield is covered. Stick to your process. I am personally begging you, and we will. That is money left on the table. And if we want to go into making more money and money in the box, a lot of stores do a good job on that finance and finance new or finance pre-owned. Limited profitability in secondary or subprime, that we still need a specialized individual to be able to handle those deals. But let's focus on the low-hanging fruit, cash deals and outside finance deals. And another thing I hear a lot of business managers come back with is a lot of dealerships are selling that sub-$10,000 car, that cash corral car, good front-end profitability, and I'm a big fan of them. But then they come back and they say, well, I can't finance it. I don't have a service contract available, blah, 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 blah. What about their ancillary? If they have a road hazard and they're selling the car out of the dealership, I guarantee it's got 330 seconds of tread. They can sell road hazard. It's not a high profitability product, but my primary rule in F&I is to avoid the zero. Avoid the zero. Every zero is an F in school, and $100 on something is better than zero or trying to make 1,000 or 500 not selling anything. So let's pick up the low-hanging fruit, stick to your process, and let's focus and put the same vigor into that cash and outside finance deal as we do in our finance deals.
Shaka.
Rebecca, what do you got?
I'd like to say something real quick. I'd like to talk about, we all point our fingers, and we're so good at pointing fingers at our finance managers, business managers, and frankly, some of the heat has to go on the desk. Some of that heat has to be on the desk. It is,
absolutely.
right, with these sales managers and playing a huge part. If I tell you one time, if not, I can't tell you how many times it's happened. But some of these guys wonder why they're going into bowl. They have, and especially if these are the guys who are quoting payments. These are the guys can be the culprits that are creating this F&I bottleneck to begin with. And so I think while we're pointing fingers at the F&I department, we also need to take a look at how we're working with our sales managers, and our sales managers definitely need to also be a part of this process. It doesn't all begin in the F&I office.
Hey, Shaka, I want to ask a question. Well, somebody tweeted out just now at dealer.com, and again, I don't want to beat a dead horse on it, but there's a lot of talk about change. It said that the auto industry is changing. I hear this so much. I mean, I guess it's because we interview people every week, and it's with all subjects across the board. The industry's changing, either change or be left behind. And who's driving this change? I mean, I want to know. Sometimes I wonder if it's really the customers. Are there like customers standing at our outside our dealerships, banging on the door going, change this, or I'm going to start riding a camel around. Yeah. I'd like to know that. I really would, because I mean, I wonder. I mean, I don't know, man. I wonder if it's really a lot of a business model with a lot of these things. But talk a little bit about subprime too, because I mean, we've got a lot of clients, and because are strong in secondary, they have departments designated for this, and there's a lot of money, there's a lot of profit, but yet, why? What is the big hesitation? You're a trainer, you're a consultant. I mean, do you recommend to your clients, if they don't already, that they need to aggressively grow their subprime business, Shaka?
Yeah, there's nothing to be scared of with subprime, like prime deals. I mean, it all boils down to I believe what Candace, not Candace, I'm sorry, what Tony and Rebecca are saying, and it all boils down to the training. And what I believe is F&I needs to reach. They need to put their tentacles out there on the desk. They need to train and put their tentacles out there on the sales floor. And I would tell people, in order to be more profitable in F&I, my first approach to my F&I guys is earlier intervention. I mean, they need to get involved a whole lot earlier than they do in a deal, as early as possible. And as far as subprime is concerned, it's just a training thing. Mm-hmm. It's just a different set of credit, different set of steps, different set of circumstances, a different set of bank guidelines and buying guidelines that a customer needs to go through in order to purchase a vehicle. But it just requires training. And once an F&I manager is trained on how to adequately handle subprime should be an easy or a pretty easy process to flow with. And yeah, of course, there's a lot of subprime out there, mm-hmm. And so I definitely encourage dealerships to reach out and try to get as much of it as they can, for sure.
Candace, I mean, what in your philosophy, in your opinion, with this transition, I mean, what about subprime? I mean, we're talking about salesmen having to take on responsibilities in your method, in your opinion, but then you have trained business managers that don't go after because of the stips and because of some of the chasing that goes on. So
it takes work.
It does. It takes work, and so I mean, wouldn't that be a challenge? I mean, and I'm not just for the sake of not going after it, but we're talking about a great percentage of America having credit issues. I mean, having issues where extra stips are involved here. What about that in your model? How do you address that?
So in the model that I believe in, you centralize the buying. So, of course, you can't eliminate F&I. You need to be able to finance the vehicle. So nobody's, I'm not a proponent of saying you eliminate the F&I process, but you separate the duties and the responsibilities as it exists today. So I like to refer to it as separating the menu from the bank. So the menu presentation goes back to the sales rep. The purchasing of the paper and the putting together of the menu, the building of the menu, and the contracts and putting together the documents, that stays with a centralized funding team that is led by a traditional finance director. The difference there is as it scales, you can hire hourly employees to process those deals. And my old group, they've got $14 an hour employees that are processing 147 car deals a month. They've moved the needle $300 a car in finance PVR over the last 5 years in a 12-store, 1,200-person group as they've been able to execute this properly. There are similar models out there.
$500 in 3.5 days. $300 in 5 years increase?
$300 per car, finance PPR, over the course of a 5-year period. So I don't know. I mean, that's a pretty big move. $300 per car in finance PPR. It's a pretty big move.
What was
the
starting number?
They had a sales rep last year that sold 500 cars with an average of $1,500 in finance PPR. That's one person. 500 cars, one person. He sold 65.5 cars in the month of August with an average of $1,500 in finance PPR. This model allows you to scale without increasing significantly your expenses. So when it gets to subprime, David, to answer your question, yes, you still have that subject matter expert who understands how to get the subprime deals bought. But more importantly, you're able to increase your reserve because you have bigger buying power, because you are centralizing the buying and you're not relying on your finance director to give that business to their buddies or their friends or whoever's bringing them in the free lunch that day from whatever bank they like. You actually have more strategic decision-making ability, and because you're centralizing, you've got better ability to buy stronger and to still pass on those savings to the customer while increasing your percentages. So
well, I know, Tommy. I apologize again. I do this all the time, Jim.
No,
Jim,
I'm learning.
Well, I mean, Jim. I mean, and again, Candace. You can't argue with facts if that's the fact she's touting. But I guess here's my question. Again, I'm asking questions that seem like I'm biased. I'm really not, but at least coming to my mind. I can't help it. Candace, you just said this guy's averaging this amount. But I mean, Jim, it sounds to me that it could be harder because it sounds like you're hiring a bunch of people that could be finance managers in dealerships. So in other words, if we have problems maybe finding one person that's really good or somebody that's really dedicated, really it's almost like you're changing salespeople in reality. I mean, now you're talking about not just hiring your average salesperson, but going out and hiring people that have the ability to probably get a job as a finance manager in other dealerships. Does that make sense? I mean,
and she's going to pay them $14 an hour.
They're not selling, you guys. Let me make this distinction clear. Because they are not selling. They are processing.
That's the document processor.
They are getting exactly. They're the document processors. You're not paying them to sell. They are behind the scenes. They are administrators. You are passing the selling portion on to your sales reps, who, by the way, you hired them to do. You hired them to sell. So pay them to sell the car and the menu. You're separating the responsibilities. You're taking the finance manager role that it is today, as it exists today, and separating it into two positions.
You're going to put a lot of dealerships in the toilet before you're done.
Excuse me?
You are going to sink a lot of dealerships.
Well, you're
going to put so many dealerships in the toilet.
The dealerships that I've impacted are growing significantly, making
Jim,
a lot more money
I
than the
can't see her
rest of the
sinking any
dealerships.
dealerships because I don't know of any dealerships that do that besides that one. There's one dealer group that I know in Minnesota that she keeps on talking about, which I'm very aware of the Walzer Group. I know them well. I've managed some stores up in Minnesota. I used to live in Egan, so I know them very well. But outside of that, I don't know of any dealer groups out there that do that same process. So I don't know if she's going to actually sink any dealerships because the dealers and GMs that I know, they don't believe in that. So
that's why I don't work with them.
They're trying to start a movement that doesn't exist. They're trying to start a movement that doesn't exist.
It does exist. You're entitled to your opinion, but it does exist. It does. It
doesn't exist.
There are some people.
The OEMs are talking about it, so it does exist. But you're
20,000 locations. How many are doing it?
The OEMs have proved for years of how well they know how to actually sell the cars. They're great at building them, but I don't know about necessarily selling them. And there's so many of the OEMs really want to turn our $5 million facilities into delivery zones. And I know, Tommy, you brought up earlier, who's moving the change? Is it the customers? Well, granted, we have a little bit different customer, that millennial customer base, and there's something to be said. And there are some customers out there that the automobile is the most driven appliance out there. And if they're going to look at it like an appliance, well, running it through Target or going through a certain type of process does appeal to them. But the high majority of customers today, even the millennial crew, the car is, they go to get their baby and they bring it home and love it like their child. And it's that emotion, like Jim brought up earlier, it's that emotional piece. And a lot of times granted, an F&I transaction takes an hour. That's not acceptable. But most people are willing to spend the time to care and love for their new automobile. And there's a lot of people even start talking, in OEM start talking about, well, we need to make it more like an Apple store or an iStore. Have you been to an Apple store recently? You'll walk in, they ask if you have an appointment. You're up. Then you are sorted by group of where you go, and then you stand around, especially if you want to buy a phone, change a phone, fix something. And then you're there for 2 hours on an appointment. We can actually sell a car a lot faster than 2 hours than going to the Apple store. And I'm not just talking about the one here locally down the street from me here in Austin. I've been to plenty of them out there. Apple stores operate more like car dealerships, but then we get the manufacturers saying they want to make the car dealership operate more like a Apple store. So some things start getting crossed out there real quick.
It's funny.
But
I'll tell you, Tony.
Available.
I'll tell you,
a lot of
Tony.
it has to do with emotion.
Tony, I learned a lot of menu from Becky Chernick. Chernick and I used to work together, and and I learned a lot from Becky. But I think what we're dealing with here is a crusade that's not happening. There's people wanting to change the car business. They got one group, like Shaka said, the Walzer group, and they got nothing rolling. I mean, and I know exactly who the cohorts are, but it's obvious what their motive is. They want to make money selling dealers training. I mean, and training on and the idea they're telling the dealers, hey, you might make a little less profit. Would you let me talk? Will you let me talk? Will you let me talk? I mean, you've been this whole meeting, this whole thing's been about you. And I was told it was about making more money, not debating on some half-assed project you got going. But
But
so,
go ahead.
You make a living off of training. So how is it any different than what I'm trying to make a living off of? I mean, guys.
I'm glad you said trying because you're not succeeding.
Be direct. You don't have to be passive aggressive. Just be direct. I can take it. We can have an honest and direct conversation. But again,
I'm sorry. I don't like you.
Hey.
I would encourage you to keep an open mind because the industry is.
No, I don't have an open mind. I don't like you, and I don't like the people who are doing what you're trying to do.
That you could keep an open mind and recognize that there's other ways of doing business and not be so threatened by it.
Well, hey,
you don't seem to have an open mind at all. What are you talking about? Have an open mind? I mean, I've been listening to your opinions. This whole thing, you've been butting in on everybody else that's speaking.
So let me. Somebody tweeted, I got to defend myself, I guess. But someone said like to stir stuff up. But to be perfectly honest, I did say, hey, let's talk about how to make more money, and we did somehow end back up here because I think that this is not that the idea of what we're talking about, but you got to understand that I think that dealerships are being called on. But this not just this product, Jim. I mean, you're in the business. You train and you train a lot more than F&I, and so you see this. There's ideas and there's things that are coming. And Tony mentioned the Apple Store. I have to say this because forget F&I, anything. See, to me, look, I'm buying a phone as soon as it comes out, right? I'm with anybody else. But guess what? I know how to use my phone, and so the millennials that want their phone, guess what? They know every single solitary thing about the phone. They know everything. So guess what? A car's not a phone. So the problem I have with turning it into an Apple store is it will be one jumbled mess because they're going to want to know everything about the car, including how it drives. You try to show up and have that concept for something that costs as much as a car does. It's not a phone. You understand what I'm saying? Like a phone, they're there and they can hold it in their hand, right in that little space, and go through it and flip and look at everything and watch tutorials on it. But a car is not a phone. A, it costs way more. And B, it must be driven. That's part of knowing about it. If a phone was a car, they'd sit inside of it and drive it around the freaking Apple Store. You understand what I'm saying? So I think that we have to be careful in the car business, just trying to make everything like an Apple Store. There's this whole vibe of. I don't even know if that's what millennials want. I just think that it's. I think that I don't know. So
it is.
Somebody say it is. I don't know. So I'm going to give you guys a couple of minutes here. First of all, I appreciate you coming on, everybody. And, And I love all of you guys. And Candace, you know, I love you too. And I respect everybody's opinion. And honestly, yeah, we are a radio show. And I like to have spirited conversations, but I do like everyone on the show. And I want you guys to be able to give your closing remarks. And dealers are listening. We've got a lot of feedback. And you know what? Everybody is weighing in. Believe it or not. Chasing paper, somebody says, is absolute work. Way too many people have an inaccurate opinion on what F&I does. Somebody else said that if we don't change, we're not going to grow. Another dealer said, you're trying to start a movement that doesn't exist. I guess he was quoting Jim. Somebody said that there's too much that goes on in the finance department to make it to make it the way you're discussing. So these are opinions. And Shaka, I'm going to give you 2 minutes, man. Take your time and give us your closing remarks on what you think dealers need to hear right now from you that are listening on the F&I in the back end regarding the F&I department here. Talk about that and give us your closing remarks, sir.
Well, you know, in regards to F&I, and not getting, I don't think that dealers or anyone else in the dealership needs to get further away from F&I. What I truly believe is that there needs to be more involvement in F&I, more interaction in F&I. I think F&I needs to be involved a whole lot more. If you want to speak of profitability, if you want to talk what's really real inside of a dealership, if you want to speak profitability and how to make a customer's experience more efficient and better and make your dealer more profitable and F&I managers a lot better, then I would strongly suggest getting more involved in F&I, having your F&I managers get involved a lot earlier in the process than just on the tail end. And I promise you, what you'll see is a lot better customer experience. What you'll experience a lot more revenue generated in the back end because of F&I having more control of a deal. I, for one, in my stores would have my F&I managers go out to the sales floor and get involved extremely early, whether it be saying hi and meeting and greeting the customer, whether it be TOing that customer, even working numbers up at the desk. So I'd have my F&I guys get involved a lot earlier than just when the deal is ready for F&I. And I got to tell you, I don't think anybody on the panel or in the F&I world or in the automotive industry doubts my track record, or they know who I am and they know what I'm about and what we've done. So those are some of the things that I would say is that F&I involvement needs to get a lot bigger. The F&I footprint needs to get a lot bigger on the desk and on the sales floor. You know, you can go to Dealer F&I University. My website is www.dealerfiuniversity.com, where you'll be able to learn training there. Also, you can join the F&I 20 group, the largest F&I focused group on all of Facebook. So that's all I got. And I appreciate you guys allowing me to be a part of this great group, and I appreciate all the guests here.
Thank you, Shaka, man, as always.
Yeah, Shaka didn't get crazy. I was hoping he was going to get a little crazy.
He does it on video more. You know, like you can see him. I think he sees himself in a reflection a little bit,
awesome,
and it fires him up.
I look awesome when I'm all
No,
fired
you know,
up.
man. No, you know, I launched Skype later than the show started, so they said that they couldn't Skype me in. So I'm up on Skype. But no, man, you know, I didn't want to get fired up in some nonsense debate today, man, because it's the same old, man. And you know, since the last 2-3 times we had the discussion, nothing's changed. I haven't heard it anywhere other than having the debate here about that, you know, and when dealers and when general managers and dealers, and I promise you, I got my footprint is pretty big out there in the F&I world, in the auto industry, and when I start hearing dealers and GMs talking about they want that type of process, then we'll have the conversation. But outside of that, again, it's just a theory.
Okay. Well, good deal, man. Good to hear from you. Rebecca, you wanna chime in, give us your closing thoughts, please?
Thank you. You know, I grew up in the car business, and one thing that I know very, very well is F&I. I know how to make a deal. I know how to put a deal together, non-prime, subprime, whatever kind of prime. I know how to make deals, and I know how to maximize profits, and at the same time, keep customers happy and coming back. And one of the things, again, it's all about building that relationship and getting out there on the floor and making sure that, you know, it takes two to tango. One of the things that, you know, I'll go back to is the fact that when you have integration, when you have sales and you have F&I working together, linked together, then you probably can get rid of half the issues that we're talking about here. Granted, I think we do have issues because I don't think some of these sales managers, frankly, have been trained in I can't tell you how long. We need more training there. It's, you know, you can point, like I said before, we can point at the F&I person. It takes two. It takes that sales manager to get up with the times and everyone working together, building the relationship, having that relationship, and the technology. Technology is here to help and to support that seamless process. And frankly, if you're not on top of that technology, guess what? That's your fault. We've got to do a better job with that. And I think collectively, when we work with the technology, making sure we're building relationships, finance is getting on the floor, building that relationship, sales managers are going to F&I workshops. And they're also involved in compliance and having a better understanding of what that means in creating that buy-in between the sales department and F&I. I think it can come together quite well, and I have seen it come together quite well and create that transparent process where we can maximize profit. There you have it.
Amen,
All right.
sister.
Thank you.
All right, how can people get a hold of you if they want to, Miss Rebecca?
Thank you.
How does someone get Rebecca, if you tell the dealers that are listening how they can reach you?
Oh, sure, absolutely. www.chernick, CHERNEK, consulting.com. I'm also on F&I Today on Facebook and also F&I Today with CBT Automotive News Network.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right. So, Tony D, give us your closing statement.
Well, making more money, like we talked about earlier, let's focus on the low-hanging fruit for everybody out there, dealers, sales managers, general managers, and especially the business managers. Let's look at those cash deals and those outside finance deals, and let's focus on those and work on selling something. A little bit of something's better than nothing. Really, to echo back what Rebecca just brought up, is we've seen a systematic change over the years of the elevation in management in the automobile industry, that we would go from sales to F&I to sales manager to GSM or director to general manager. We don't necessarily see that now. We see sales to sales management without that F&I experience. We're seeing more and more sales managers in our F&I school here at the Academy on a pretty regular basis. And like Rebecca brought up, and totally agree, is when you have that synergy and you know F&I and sales managers and everybody's on the same page, it really does make life a little bit easier. Max out the amount of deals a business manager does in a month. Between 50 and 70, that's your sweet spot. If you're a 100, 120 car store, we need 2, possibly even 3 business managers. So let's take a look at that. That speed will also help up the profitability. If you are interested, you've heard the debates and you've heard Jim and Candace go after it, and I kind of split down the middle between the two of them. That if you have if you're interested in hybrid and what it can do, especially from a customer experience, increasing profitability, increasing especially product sales and your long-term investment and risk transfer available. Hybrids may be a way to go, but I certainly want to have some serious conversations with you before you decide to make that kind of flip. I'll be speaking at Lebanon Automotive next week. I think, Rebecca, are you going to be there? I know, Dave, you're going to be there. I'm pointing at the screen like you're going to be there. I look forward to seeing everybody. If you want to contact me, check it out. You can find me at TonyD@SGISF.com. That's my left pocket, 512-542-1669. You can find us at SGISF.com/training. You can hook me up on Facebook. Just search Tony D in Austin, and you can follow me on Twitter at F&I Guy at FI Update, and we will keep you all tuned up with all types of fun F&I, sales management training. So live from the Academy. Tony D, I'm out.
All right, Candace.
So I just want to reiterate a few things. I absolutely agree with everything that all of these guys just said in their closing. I couldn't agree more with Shaka that F&I footprint needs to be bigger. I absolutely agree with Rebecca that building the relationship and integration with technology is very important. I know Tony reiterated that as well. I think his point about the career development is dead on, that in order to be a successful general manager, you need to understand all aspects of the business. I appreciate two of you, Dave and Tommy, for keeping this dialogue going. I know it can be an uncomfortable conversation, but again, I do believe that as thought leaders, and I believe all of us to be that, and respect everybody in the panel today, that we have a responsibility to this industry to provide our clients with lots of different options, and there is a different way of doing business. It may not be the right way for everybody, but there is a different way, and it does work. So I'd encourage anybody who has questions about it. I'm happy to talk about it offline. I'm happy to bring you to the Walzer Group. I'm happy to get you in touch with the people that are running the Lexus model. Again, I understand it takes commitment. I'm not saying it's going to work for everybody, but I would just encourage us to keep an open mind and to have a respectful dialogue about this, because the customer is demanding something different, and we have to respond to that. So thank you again.
And Candace, you're going to be at Women in Automotive, I think, as well. But how do dealers reach out to you?
You can find me on Twitter at Crane Auto HR, or you can find my website at craneautomotiveresources.com.
Okay.
Thank you, Candace. And Mr. Ziegler, you have the final word here. Alpha Dog gets the final word.
Okay, everybody come to Internet Battle Plan, South Carolina. It's internetbattleplan.com. we're teaching at the beach. I'm wearing my Hawaiian shirt. I've been a little disappointed in the show today, David, to be real honest with you. I thought we were going to talk about profitability rather than have a debate, but that's okay. I think that what we're talking about here is a non-movement. I think we're trying to create a movement that doesn't exist, on a theory that doesn't work. And F&I, it's going to transform. Yes, F&I will transform. F&I will. I see F&I going more to the CarMax type model, where one manager, one sitting, one customer. And what I see happening with F&I, and I've been predicting this for about 3 or 4 years now in print, is that I can see that the salesperson will introduce the customer to a manager who, with a menu, does the entire front end and back end sale in one sitting. I see that's been successful in the CarMax stores, and it's probably where we're going to end up. Over 80% of today's deals, depending on who you talk to, 85% of today's deals. I don't like analytics, first 4 letters, or ANAL. But the truth of the matter is, whether you're 85% of today's deals are based on finance. So finance is the way people are buying their cars. They're not buying the price, they're buying the finance. And with 60%, 70% in some markets having distress credit, you're going to need people that are trained to do that. And that's going to be a manager. It's not going to be a high turnover sales force. And we're not going to, trying to reduce the compensation is the whole pitch these people are using, and that's just absolutely false. If we're trying to reduce compensation and sell dealers on the idea you can pay your people less, and that's what they're doing, we'll make less profit, but you're going to pay your people less. Quit it. Okay, that's all I got to say.
And then how does a dealer reach you, Sir Ziegler?
Oh, you can reach Jim Ziegler. Just put my name in Google. It comes up over 45,000 times, and James Ziegler comes up another couple million. But Alpha Dog Blog, DAWG, alphadogblog.com is one way. You get on social media, you're going to bump into me.
All right. I want to thank everybody for coming on today. Never a dull moment, as someone tweeted out on Auto Dealer Live. Thanks, guys. It's been real.
It's been real.
It's been good. Actually, Kevin Campbell, I did blush a little bit today. I don't know, whatever reason. I felt like squirming around a little bit.
I
peed
actually at one point.
Did you pee? I smelled that.
That was me.
All right. So thanks, guys, for joining us. You guys great as always. Have a great weekend and close strong. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys. It was I say, and here's what I didn't want to.
When's the boiler on the day? Come on!
Give me a number to call.
Okay. 888 534 1369.
I'm gonna get people on the phone for my salespeople. We're sucking wind in here, not getting people on the phone. Unacceptable, so I'm gonna get people on the phone for them. Yeah, I need to get Bill real quick. Can you let him know Ken's on the phone? Thanks.
Bill, what's going on?
Who's next?
Not much. Another day, right?
Not doing?
All right, I'll tell you this, Bill. This has been a crazy Wednesday for me. I don't know how your Wednesday's going so far. You guys have been beating me up today. My name is Ken. I'm actually with IPD. Are you familiar with Nissan of Lawton? So not interested. I can't do.
Why? Look, you gotta stop doing that. I'm not interested, and just pause it. As soon as you hear listen, I'm gonna stop you. You're not interested in sales pitch. You're not interested in having your time wasted. I understand. Give me 5 seconds to appeal to you. Here's the deal. Next 30 days, 200 people in your showroom, I can help you deliver 3 to 40 cars. You have to be interested in that. Give me 5 minutes of your time to show you this. I promise you, I will not waste your time. And at the end of it, I'm gonna show you something you've never seen before. You're gonna be like, wow, I can't believe that was available to me. Go to ipddemo.com. I just want to show it to you. Couple of quick slides. You don't like it, I'll move on. But I promise you, you're gonna like it. Give me 5 minutes. You got to do it with that kind of passion. You have to get more passionate, and you have to cut them off when they're like, I'm not. No, you're not interested in having your time wasted. I get it. You're pausing. You're like, I'm not interested, and you're giving a pause. And there's a pause before they hang up. They're waiting on you to respond. Respond. Don't let them do that. This is what they're doing. I'm not interested. They're pausing before they hang up. It's not this. I'm not interested. There's nothing you can do with that. But I'm telling you, because I've heard hundreds of calls, they do this. I'm not interested. They're waiting on you to respond. You get about 2 seconds to respond. You don't respond. They're looking for a rebuttal. Give me another person to call. We're going to get people on the phone.
355-5000.
Hey V, can I get Freeman real quick? Can you let him know Ken's on the phone? Yeah. Thank you.
No, is it something I can hold for a few minutes?
Kendrick, this is what I want you to do. I want you to call that number back. Okay? You guys sound with urgency. Okay? I want you to go, hey, this is Ken. I just got, what's his name again? Freeman's voicemail. I just need to talk to him for like 2 seconds. Can you page him for me? But you gotta do it with urgency. Come as soon as you dial the number, get over here because there's no prompts. So just come over here. This stuff works to get people on the phone. It's just having urgency at the front of the call. Come here.
Hey, I just got Freeman's voicemail. This is Ken again. I just need to talk to him for a couple seconds. Can you go ahead and page it for me, please?
Ken.
We're back to the voicemail.
You got to constantly have people page, especially in our industry. Have people page. Now, in other industries, it's not common to have people page. And what we do, it is common to have people page. So if you don't page people and what we do, you'll never get on the phone. But other industries, you got to do what you can to get someone on the phone. If you got a receptionist that's willing to help you, go the extra mile. Hey, have you seen him in your office today? Is he over and maybe over by another reception desk? Is he over in a different office? Could you maybe look for me? I just need to talk to him for 5 minutes. Creating urgency at the front of the call, the same kind of urgency you have at the end of the call when you want to sell them. It has to be at the front of the call to get them on the phone.
It was different. It was just simply better. Of course, I mean, as normal, you guys hear this every single day.
So here's the deal.
What I asked him for was give me 5 minutes to show you.
I'm trying to get my guys to do what I'm going to tell them to do. So when you call someplace, you got to act like not only you know them, but I train my guys. Okay, you're doing cold calls. Telemarketers, salespeople over the phone, they don't do one thing. They don't reveal who they are. They don't reveal who they are because you're scared if they find out this is a sales call, they're going to hang up on you. So what do?
I don't remember.
Well,
honestly,
to put down the receptionist's guard, to let you get through to the gatekeeper or get through to the decision maker, I always tell them who I am. Hey, let them know Chris is on the phone. Does two things. One, I revealed myself to them. I didn't tell them what company I was from, but you know what? They're not going to ask at that point. The reason they're not going to ask, they go, because of the way I asked for them. Hey, I needed to get, what's your name? I need to get Lee real quick on the phone. Let him know Chris is on the phone. Thanks. What I just did is I asked for Lee by his first name. They think I know him. I reveal who I am, so they think, oh, well, this is Chris. Lee must know Chris. Let me go get him. Urgency, also with the fact that sounds like something's familiar to him. Sounds like I'm a friend. So I'm trying to get these guys to do it, because if they do that, they'll get more people on the phone.
Give me 5 minutes here, because the thing is, as you see, I'm persistent. I'm going to be calling you over and over. I'll make a deal. 5 minutes, you'll never hear my voice again if you don't like it. Go ahead. Oh, okay. Well,
why would you say no to 30 cars?
But if I'm going to show you how to sell 25, 30 cars, there's no way you're going to say no to that. Oh yeah, that's like someone comes up to you and says, "Hey, I'll fill out a credit app or I won't." Of course you're going to take the credit app. Go ahead and go to ipddemo.com. Oh, yo, listen.
Let me ask you a question. Why aren't you interested?
Let me ask this question to you. Why aren't you interested? Why are you convinced that the answer is going to be no? How long? Actually, about maybe 6 months, to be honest with you. Why? Because honestly, we have constant training going on here. And probably because I've only been doing it for 6 months.
Hey, is it Steve?
Yeah, but I'll tell you this: it's not all scripted. I think you could tell that there's no way he's that good that he knows what you're saying without hearing you. But he does help us out here. We have a good manager. His name is actually Chris. But yeah, that is the bottom line. That's what he's helping me ask you. Why is it so convincing that you're gonna say no if I can help you sell 25 to 30 cars? That's the bottom line. Oh yes. Oh, that I know I can though. That's what we know. All right. I'm an optimistic person. I'll be honest with you. Here's what I heard. You probably heard the way that you shut me down. I heard you say that if you can, then you will. Here's the thing. I know you can. You said if I can, I will. And I'm telling you, I know you can. If you go ahead and give me 5 minutes. Oh, I wouldn't say that.
Actually, this was the gentleman that was just on that just told him what to say. And I have been in the car business. I've been in the car business for 12 years. I have sold cars. I've been in finance. I've been a finance director. I have sold cars. And I can tell you for a fact, unless you have inventory issues or something along those lines, we can help you sell cars. Are you there? Do you hang up? Coward. Go to the next call. Freaking coward. Big bad car salesman gets beaten down by what they call a telemarketer.
Hey Lori, send me over to Josh. Tell him to sleep.
That's strong.
When's the board on the deck? Come on!